Hello, everybody. How are you doing this fine evening? It is so good to see you all again and just so good to be back. I have sincerely missed playing our little Feywild game here on the Greyhawk channel. Really sorry that we haven't been able to play for a while, but the world is being the world, and my computer just wanted to be a POS. So I don't know what to tell you, but we're here today. We're going to get right into some action, and I cannot wait. But before we do that here on the Greyhawk channel, we definitely want to make sure that we send a special thank you out to our sponsors and supporters of the show. First and foremost, everybody on Patreon who supports the Greyhawk channel, and as well as the Twitch subscribers here on the Greyhawk channel. We sincerely thank you so much for all of your support. We're able to put on awesome shows like this, so again, thank you very much. And another big shout out will go off to Roll20, who supports the show. All the games that you typically see on the Greyhawk channel are powered by Roll20, which is the world's leading virtual tabletop. And like I said before, a big supporter of the Greyhawk channel. Also, check out Heroic Maps, which is our official battle map sponsor. They have a whole bunch, like a huge bunch of maps. 300 maps over on Drive-Thru RPG, so definitely give them a check out if you are in the market for some maps or just kind of need to be inspired. I love perusing. I have like a whole folder full of just maps that never get used, but you never know when you just like want to figure out how like what type of terrain people are going to go travel through, or you know what sort of battle area your players are going to probably just destroy anyway. So it's always nice to have. Definitely check out Heroic Maps. And of course, we've got Tabletop Loot. You can head over to tabletoploot.com and enter a Greyhawk, that's with a capital G and a capital H, in the coupon code box and get 15% off your dice order. And like we said before, thank you so much to all the Patreon and Twitch supporters. Make sure that you, or if you are there and in the Discord, you can get yourself a coupon code to rooinc.com and to Cantrip Candles in the private section of the Discord channel. So definitely check that out and take advantage of the coupon. Now, before we get started, we're going to do a quick a little loop around and figure out who everybody is, because it's been a little while. So before we dive in, why don't you each go ahead and let people know who you are, who you're playing. Obviously, I know it says we're level 2, but that's something I have to update in the maps too, I just noticed. So note to self. But also tell us a little bit about your character and what do they think of being stuck in the Feywild right now, which is where our campaign is. So, PB, how about we we start with you?
Hi, I am PB, and today I am playing Rental, who is an ASMR fighter, and she is, weirdly enough, being in the Fae is like the least of her worries at the moment. After everything that's kind of happened in the past, I'd say like day or two, that's been a little bit more concerning. Not having the memories thing, then suddenly remembering them, having some weird apparition spirit crazy thing come at me and tell me like, hey, history. And I'm like, what? Tattoo. All right, see you later. What? Like that's as I feel like what's happening in Rental's mind right now. Although, it's not an unpleasant experience. If anything else, she'd rather be doing something while she's having a mild breakdown than, not doing anything.
That's fair. What else are you gonna do? What else are you gonna do?
It just keep moving forward.
That's especially here. That's kind of all you can do. So we're gonna go ahead and kick it over to my buddy Russ. How's it going? How you doing?
Hi everyone, I'm Russ. I play Audrey, a Furbolg druid. So basically he's baby, and he's in the Feywild, and he's scared, and he now has winter powers, and he's level 3. But most importantly, he's baby.
He is baby, like sweet, precious baby who spent at least like 2 episodes in a wolf form.
Wolf form.
So
Yeah.
it's fine.
And then spent most of the time talking to his god, crying.
You don't have to share those secrets, but it's okay. We still stand, Audrey. And of course, Kika, how are you? Welcome back. Always a pleasure to have you around.
Hey, I'm Kika. I'm playing my wild magic sorceress named Chrysanthemum, and she kind of has mixed feelings about being in the Feywild. She's kind of a carefree person in general, which I'm sure everybody who has seen any of the show has noticed right away. So it's like, she would rather be in a different situation, but she's fine with it. She can roll with it.
And I mean, she's been handling herself pretty darn well in engaging with the Feywild in a way that I certainly never planned for. But that's kind of the perk of having Kika around.
She climbs a lot of trees.
Hey, it's the Feywild.
I'm surprised she hasn't died from doing that, though, because she has a -1 in her athletics.
You got so lucky with them dice rolls. Oh my gosh.
Like,
yeah, 100 feet up in the air, these trees, and you're just like, nah, I got this. It's fine.
Like, in character, she's totally fine. Kika, out of character, was terrified. Like, I have to do this because this is the character, but I don't want to.
So, the last we met in the Grove, where we met, we'll kind of do a bigger recap because it has been some time, and to help refresh memories and anybody new that's joining in right now can kind of get a little better understanding of what's been going on. The 4 of you, all young adventurers, woke up in this beautiful grove area where the trees were just overgrown. The land itself was just very plush and rich with forestry that you've never seen before. And upon waking up, you all realized that you didn't know who you were or where you were, and you certainly didn't know each other. But literally by a force of nature, you had to move together after being attacked by a group of giant weasels, which you were then eventually saved, maybe, probably, by a sweet little old, super old, really old gnome who took you back to her cottage, where, in order to help you reclaim your memories, presented you with a very World of Warcraft grocery shopping list. You were sent back out into these deep woods where you had to find and harvest certain plants and just sticks and flowers, of which she brewed you a tea that some of you were able to enjoy the benefit of reclaiming some of your lost memories. Others of you didn't have a great time. One of them in particular being our young Furbolg, who was not even a Furbolg. He was still stuck in wolf form, having not really figured out how to get out of said form. And eventually, though, this old gnomish woman suggested that if you wanted to unlock the rest of your movies, if you wanted to reclaim the rest of your memories, you needed to go deeper into the woods where the trees were just insanely tall, taller than you've ever seen before, but apparently could scale with no problem, as Chrysanthemum was able to do. There you were actually first greeted pleasantly by this fiendish creature, large, long, and lanky in nature, with a protruding spine and skull-like face, black leathery flesh, and we know these things to be chokers, and it attacked you all, and you were able to take care of it seemingly without too much of a problem. You then also encountered the dryad known as Briaris, who was telling you what she wanted to tell you, certainly, and in order to appease her and get your memories back, which she promised she would help you with, you must bring back the heart of an ex-lover, whom she sent you to go hunt down deep into the woods, known as the Heartmont Hollow. And you were able to track down this lover who, without engaging in combat, although quite comically, the introduction when you tripwired his door, again, looking at you, Chrysanthem, just pushing some limits there.
No, I love that he didn't trip over it when he came out, but he did when he went back in.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it didn't go away. Like, it was there. So you met the lycanthrope Su Yin. And Su Yin is a werebear, although in his human form, he seemed rather peaceful. He didn't want to fight you. He certainly had no desire to kill any of you, just trying to live the rest of his days in this kind of broken forest in his little lonely home. And to kind of help you with your memories in good faith that he didn't want you to take his heart back to Briaris, quite literally, offered you an experience, we'll say. And this experience put each of you into this dreamlike state, and it is here that you were able to almost open your mind to an infinite realm of possibilities. And one of those possibilities that came up was by a god of the seasons. And each of you had this encounter with one of these gods, which I can do the names of real quick because they're right here in front of me. Sotilian, Telkur, Wenta, and Atroa. So the deities of the spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And each of you were able to reclaim some of your memories through these visions and through discussion with each deity, tasked both in mission and with power to protect the Dooryard Fig, which you were each granted the vision of the Dooryard Fig itself, which is this beautiful tree that is seemingly alive in each of the 4 seasons. One corner is just beautiful, cherry blossoms. Another corner is frigid and cold, layered in ice and snow, but with little twigs full of little bits of green and berries. You had another part of the tree that was just that fiery red and brown and yellow of autumn leaves. And of course, the incredibly vibrant, good God, thank you for the follow. That sound is so weird in my head because it's here and loud. So, and then you also have this summer, beautiful, vibrant, green, very lush. And the tree just twists, seemingly, like I said, alive in each of the 4 seasons. It is quite lovely, and you now have a connection to each part of this tree. You must protect it, because it is holding inside it something nefarious, something that could genuinely destroy both the Feywild in its attempt to be released and the home from whence you came. So we kind of left off there. for the sake of kind of moving a little bit ahead, we're going to do a little bit of a time jump. And what I would like for each of you to do is to come up with, think of a scenario that you all may have encountered along your way. Suyin, and because of what Suyin said, and with the visions that you each had from your gods, you have an understanding that you need to head towards a swamp area known as the Etten Sphere. And there are a group of cultists known as the Void Sages who have taken hold there. You're not sure what they're doing, but you know it is pretty dark, probably evil. So, what would you have encountered along the way? What would you possibly have experienced in this transition between tall, old forest and mucky marshlands?
A gaggle of grumpy grackles.
And how would you describe, how did this encounter with the grumpy grackles go, Kika?
Oh, they were very ornery. They didn't like us going through their territory. They were very unreasonably territorial, and they kept like squawking at us very loudly. But I think our good old resident Furball would have probably been able to talk them down. So that's what he does. I think he probably was able to eventually establish a dialogue with them, and maybe struck a bit of a deal with them where we possibly shared some of our food in exchange for being able to progress undeterred.
I have no rations left.
I have rations. We're good.
You also, for the sake of food, have a hunter with you who probably could help find food for you all. So you met a group of grumpy grackles?
Yep, grackles.
Grackles. Audrey, how about an encounter from you?
Imagine like crows, but like thinner.
Thin crows.
Yeah.
Thin crows. All right.
So I think at one point we come across a deer who is being sort of consumed by this poison, this sort of force that is consuming the Feywild that we've sort of seen hints of. And this is the first creature that we've seen who's really fighting against it actively. And I think Audrey tries everything to save this creature, to try and heal it, to try and save it from whatever this plague is. And I think that he keeps trying and trying until Sinisa kills the deer. And I think that breaks his heart.
That's really difficult to encounter, especially since you're so young. Seeing a creature in genuinely dire need and not being able, despite being power, despite having abilities that could help such an innocent life. Did you watch as Sinisa put it out of its misery?
I think it was a surprise. I don't think she warned him. I think she just did it.
Okay.
And he screamed and he shouted and he was angry, and then he went quiet for a long time. And I don't think he spoke for about a day or so after that.
Okay. That's fair. That's very fair. Tragic, too. Renta, what about you? How about an encounter? What happened in the time between Heartmont Hollow and your entrance into the swamplands?
I think they came across a large brown bear just out on a stroll for food. I don't know what bears do. And and this large, imposing creature came across our path. And as we were all, preparing for a fight with what we assumed was going to be a vicious beast, um, it turned to us and we saw not just the bear, but also we noticed its cubs out in the distance. And instead of charging and attacking us, it just looked at us almost calculatingly before continuing on its way. And it's probably the first time Rental has encountered something that is stronger than her, that has wanted nothing from her, that has shown a mercy without it actually being mercy, something that she would consider a mercy, but rather this bear just being passive in nature, something that she hasn't really encountered until she entered this forest and met people like Chris and people like Russ and all of these characters. Specifically Russ.
Yeah, that Russ character was I remember them. Yeah.
You mean Randy? You mean Randy, right?
Right,
Yeah.
Randy.
Randy.
And it's this entire time she's been in the forest, she hasn't really had a time to the wilds. She hasn't really had time to think about it. It's been very kill or be killed since really she woke up here. And it's the first moment of just, we don't have to. There's no need to fight always. There's no need to always be on guard, even when something intimidating is in front of you. That it really was just, I like two ships passing in the night almost. And that really just, I don't know, set something inside of her heart that she didn't think was possible, especially given her history.
That's certainly a unique story, especially knowing where Renta's past and how different the world is here in the Feywild. So between those three encounters, we'll say that it's been several days or maybe a couple weeks, or you're not really sure, actually, because the longer that you seem to stay within the Feywild, the less you recall about the construct of time. And the impossibly tall trees of the Heartmont Hollow, which felt almost comforting for a while, familiar for a while, they eventually start growing smaller, and the ground becomes wetter, and that pleasant scent of ancient forest shifts into something more acrid and moldy. And between, again, a little bit of a recap, like I said before, between Suyin's directions and the occasional omen gifted to each of you from the deities of the seasons, you understand that the swamplands that your feet are now probably about a foot, maybe so deep into this like wetland area at this point, that you're relatively close to the atmosphere where you're supposed to be. And as you've already experienced, your travel hasn't been without conflict. You've encountered wild beasts, poisoned creatures, grumpy grackles, and you've encountered along the way another choker, and another one, and another one. In fact, after some time, it almost kind of becomes boring. And each time, though, that you've encountered these aberrations, they seem to be changing. They're easier to defeat, certainly, but they're smaller. They seem to be losing size. And their limbs are still long, and their spines still protrude from their backs. They still have these sunken eyes with like no eyes at all. But there are patches of wet moss and fungus that are growing wildly throughout their black leathery flesh. And right now, I'm going to have you roll initiative, because we are standing in the middle of the swamp. There are large trees, a broken willow, a big rock up, off to one side that just is covered in, pretty gnarly looking moss, and some of the trees are just so deeply rooted into the swamplands that you have to constantly step over them. So we're going to consider the terrain to be difficult terrain. And Sinise is not here to help right now, and I don't believe that her favorite terrain is swamp, so it wouldn't even help now that I'm thinking about it. So go ahead, roll initiative, because you've heard the call, the terrible cry of these almost swampy, mutated chokers, and there are 5 of them that are starting to charge at each of you. So go ahead and give me some of that initiative. That was terrible on my part.
I got a 10.
Okay, so Chris has a 10. Anyone higher than 10?
15 for Audrey.
Hey, all right.
11 for Rental.
Fantastic.
With my +2, I'm so fast.
Yeah! All right, and the chokers rolled poorly because I happened to roll really good last night, so it's not gonna happen today. That's how these things work. So, Audrey, you are first up. You see from all directions these, snarling, blackened, skeletal-looking aberrations charging at you. What are you doing?
So he's going to go ahead and take a quick step forward and then disappear. He's using his hidden step.
Okay. Very nice.
So he is now invisible. How far away are they?
I would say that they're about 60 feet away.
Okay, 60 feet away. So he's going to hold out a hand, and he is going to cast, if I can figure out what the range on this is, give me just a moment. He's going to cast Spike Growth.
Okay.
So basically, he's going to cast it. It's a 20-foot radius, so he's going to try and get as many of them as possible without getting the group.
Okay.
And they are going to be in difficult terrain and take 2d4 piercing damage for every 5 feet they travel within that radius.
Okay.
And I'm going to try and hit as many as possible.
All right. So I'll say that you get probably 3, just because they're pretty spread out.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that again. I have to roll for when they enter, correct?
No, it's when they move 5 feet in or into it.
Okay.
So if they move 5 feet within the radius, for every 5 feet, they take 2d4 damage.
Okay, perfect.
And it's a 20-foot radius around a spot in between them.
Okay. Anything else that you'd like to do?
No, that's his go. He's not going to move or anything because he's going to stick with the rest of the gang.
Okay. Rental, you're up.
Hold 1 second. I'm just looking up a description of the spell real quick. Don't mind me.
You're fine. You're fine.
Rental is standing at a ready, looking at her surroundings, noticing how difficult it is to move around at this moment in time. So she's thinking she's probably gonna stand still. It's almost there. Almost there. 15-foot cone. Okay, that's all I needed to know. 15-foot cone. Okay. And you said they were pretty spread apart, but if I were to cast a 15-foot cone towards them,
if you attacked the ones that are going to be caught in Audrey's spike growth, you'd be able to hit all of those. Figure that there's like 2 a little more like behind you all.
All right, so I'm gonna get into a position in which I can get those 3 that Audrey just spike growth traps, and I'm going to cast one of my charges of Burning Hands, of which how do you roll for magic in this game?
They make a dexterity saving throw. I don't know what your skill is based on, though. That would be up to Gnome, as Gnome was the one who gave you the magic.
What is your actual, like, your core modifier?
My modifier?
What's your highest modifier, basically?
Yeah. Let's see, they're all +2. Let's see, so which one is the highest number?
Dex?
15. Yeah, it would be Constitution or Strength. Yeah.
Okay. Base your magic rolls off of that.
Okay.
So it'd be 8 plus your modifier plus your proficiency.
So
would be your saving throw.
So 12. 8 plus 4.
Okay. So all 3 of them have to
make the save.
Oh, that's a 15 nat.
Just gonna write that one down.
Good one. Oh, that's a nat 20. Okay, so one of them is going to get one of them fails. Yeah.
Okay, so that's 3d6 on the failed save. Ooh! Oh my gosh, this is the best I've ever rolled on these things. That's 6, 5, 2, 13 for anyone who failed. And then half of that for anybody who saved.
Okay. What does this look like when you kill the one that failed?
So Rental stands there in a crouch position, just looking at her surroundings, looking at what her peers are doing. And in this defensive stance, she realizes that these numbers need to be cut down and fast before they get swarmed. So she is going to take this energy given to her by Sotilion and does moves her hands in such a way that invokes this magic that's not natural to her, but natural to the spirit, and that's giving her strength. And it all culminates in her putting her hands in front of herself and just pushing out this dark flame that starts in almost a black and goes into a bright white at the end, and it absolutely engulfs this one person who just, poor soul, just failed, tripping over the spike growth that was laid before them. And it sears the people around them, but that one person just gets engulfed by this bright white flame.
That's incredible. And you hear it cry out, like, ah! Before it just echoes into the swamp. Anything else on this turn?
No, that will be my turn.
All right. Chris.
How many are there?
There are 4 left. 2 of them are kind of caught in this spiked growth, looking pretty injured. And then there are 2 more coming up from the rear.
Level 2 sleep on all of them.
All right. Sleep is super effective at this level.
Yeah. Ooh, good rolls.
I'm gonna need a calculator, aren't I?
Holy heck. I got really good rolls. I got a 41 total.
Woo!
41 hit points worth of creatures are put to sleep, starting with the lowest and going up to the highest. And I think that's how it works. And Wild Magic Surge. Wild Magic Surge. That is 33. Maximize the damage of the next damaging spell you cast within the next minute.
Oh gosh, that's amazing. So I need you to explain what it looks like right now as you put to sleep all of the creatures. All of them.
Chrysanthemum just takes out her stone and points it at the creatures and says, "Go to sleep or something." And like a stream of butterflies shoots out of her stone and they all just start swarming around these creatures, and this sparkly dust sort of just puffs out from their wings and falls on the creatures and makes them all just one by one fall down asleep. And then she's left with this like sort of arcane glow about her as she is empowered, but she doesn't know what to do with it because she doesn't know any damaging spells.
Oh, wild magic.
Yeah, it's great.
It's beautiful. So we'll keep the initiative order because you now have 4 slumbering swamp chokers, 2 of which kind of are seeking into the spike growth from Audrey, and the other 2 are plopped down behind you all. What are you doing? I'll kind of let you act out of initiative order.
So we could finish them off while they're asleep, or we could try to keep one as a pet. Maybe we can interrogate it. Maybe we can get information from it somehow. I don't know. Maybe we could tie it up and bring it to someone, and they can be like, "Oh, I know how to cure this problem," and maybe they can give it medicine and make it not bad anymore.
Audrey looks at you like with just such confusion on his face.
I feel like you're probably like kind of used to this by now, though.
That's fair. He's just like, we've talked about this for the past 3 chokers that we fought. We can't take them as pets.
But they're smaller every time. Maybe eventually we'll get like a pocket-sized one.
Maybe then, but these are still too big to fit in our pockets. I think we should keep moving while they're asleep. We only get like, what, a minute?
We have, yes, 1 minute.
I think that's enough time for us to get away and hopefully get far away from this fight.
Yeah. Or we can finish them off while they're asleep if you want. They didn't seem that tough.
That seems a little unnecessary. And something that our hunter would be more akin to doing, but not us. Come on.
That's not fair. I'm also akin to murdering them in their sleep.
But that doesn't have to be us. Come on.
We can tie all their legs together so they can't follow us.
They're made of branches. They'll just wriggle out.
And then we have something after. I don't remember. I'm fuck it. No accent. I don't remember. We can. They are, and then have them at our 6 to be flanked later. Is it wise to leave an enemy behind us while we move forward?
They aren't infected like the forest. It'll be fine.
I mean, just keep it in mind, I guess. And I'll move forward.
Nah, we just gotta make sure to cover our tracks, I guess.
I can help with that.
Okay, let's go. Before they wake up.
Okay. As we get moving, I'm going to use my last second level spell slot.
God, so
And-
soon. We just started.
I know. And cast Pass Without a Trace.
Okay. So enjoy a +10 to your stealth rolls, which I will definitely have you roll, assuming you are moving away carefully.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what I got?
Please don't tell me it's a 1.
With the
It's
+10,
gonna be
it's a total of 30.
Nice.
Mel.
I'm not even proficient in stealth.
7 plus I roll a 19.
All right, Audrey.
With my bonus, it is a 25.
Okay, so I'm not gonna have you do like a survival or nature check to kind of cover your tracks, for the sake of just how good your rolls have been. You've been traveling together for a while now, and you've kind of learned like, okay, this person is gonna start having heavier footsteps in this kind of area, so you know to kind of like nudge them to be like, hey, quiet. It's only been 2 minutes. You still need to be quiet. So
Can I explain what the spell looks like?
Oh yes, please.
So I think that he like very quietly says a little prayer to Telcor when he casts the spell. And so what it looks like is every time we take a step, a little pile of snow appears to soften our footstep. Then as we leave from that point, it all melts and disappears, erasing our footprint.
Oh my god.
I love it.
Yes. Queen. Yes. That is so good. Okay. So you have little snow prints that vanish every time you make a movement, as long as you're within a certain radius of Audrey.
Mhm.
And eventually you do hear, the clicking and the squeals of the chokers, but you wait, you kind of bunker down low, maybe kind of hide underneath a root of a willow tree, and eventually the sounds dissipate, and the forest or the swamp area now returns to that, bullfrogs are, croaking in the background. You hear the sounds of bugs and cicadas and other type of, creatures that you would expect to hear here in the swamp. With that encounter completed, you are officially all level 3. So congratulations. What are y'all doing now? You're in the swamp. You know you should be here. What's next?
Heading towards that camp to kick some Void Mage butt.
I don't know.
Void mages.
I'm always of the opinion that if we found a good animal guide, it would be beneficial to us.
After about our second or third day of traveling, I begin to agree with you.
Audrey's still just chilling.
I'm just like, I'm carrying
Turns.
around this heavy chainmail that goes jingle, jingle, jingle every second I walk. And when I get stuck in the mud, I have to keep pulling my boots out. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe having an animal guide would help us avoid this situation.
You just jingle all the way.
We should find you a mutter.
What's a mutter?
It's like a horse that's good for
Mudding.
traversing mud.
Oh, I had no idea.
Once lived in mud. I mean, what? I don't know.
Does anyone have any spells for finding animals?
We hidden in mud.
Sometimes, but I'd need to take a nap for me to get that spell.
Well, I can make a mud bed for you.
That sounds horrifying.
No, it's fine. It's fine. And I use mold earth to make a mud bed.
I don't know if we have time to take a nap right now. Are we supposed to be fighting a whole like camp of evil mages with darkness powers or something?
Well, I mean, we've had to do that for like what, a year now? Oh, I don't know.
I don't know how time works anymore. What's a day?
Exactly. So what's a nap?
Exactly.
All right, I guess it's nap time then.
All right.
Right.
Are you taking a short rest or a full long rest?
I need to double check what I need to refresh my spells as a
Yeah.
druid.
You need a long rest if you want to change your spells.
So long rest then. We're taking an 8-hour nap.
All right. Hey, I mean, there's
Look,
plenty
if
of
that's a
places
nap
to
here.
hide. You have a nice mud bed. You know,
And a mud bath, all in one.
all in one. Mm-hmm.
I think
Okay.
it's a mud spa.
And now I'm getting a new spell, everyone.
And while Audrey's taking a nap, I'm gonna try to see if I can talk any birds into helping us.
Hey, go for it, please.
Well, are there any birds around?
That's swamp birds. Oh, there's tons of swamp birds. Oh, they're really
Yeah.
cool. Look at these
There are birds
guys.
everywhere.
It's when they're not anywhere. That's when you need to be worried.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go with ooh, yeah. Duh, how could I not pick this? This guy's cool. How about a whooping crane?
Ooh.
Yeah. So you
Does
spot
he whoop
this,
whoop?
probably. I'm not from Louisiana, so I have no idea. It's the Google. It's the
Joey,
vibe.
please give us the sound of a whooping crane.
Whoop whoop. That's the sound that a Louisiana whooping crane makes.
Oh, I know what these things are.
For sure.
And when I
So-
hear it, I go whoop whoop in response.
It's
And
the-
almost in like call and response without even thinking about it, I also go whoop whoop.
I feel like this might be a game now for the party. Like you hear this cry every so often, and just like whoop whoop, and you're like whoop whoop, and just periodically throughout wandering in the swamp.
It's Marco Polo, but with whoops.
Absolutely.
We've been
And I
doing
eventually find it and it breaks out some glow sticks. We start a rave.
Puts on a backwards hat.
It would never put on a hat. It's this beautiful white grayish looking bird with a long beak, and it has kind of like black feathers around its face by the beak, but then it's got this like bald red spot, so it wants to show that off. Like, she's a good looking bird and she's gonna whoop without a hat. But Chris, that is what you see relatively nearby. Just minding its own business, standing pretty still in the water, looking for its next meal.
I cautiously approach and say in Sylvan, "Hello, friend."
And it kind of like whips its head to look at you and kind of rustles its breast out and wings a bit, as if like it's preparing to leave. It's not quite sure if you are a predator or not.
I make sure to not smile because I don't want to accidentally bare my teeth at it.
That's fair. Why don't you go ahead and roll me an animal handling check?
Yeah. Whoops.
No!
But
Oh, that's
it's
a natural
still-
one.
No, it's actually dirty 20. 18 plus 2.
Nice. Okay, so you know not to smile at it. You're not baring your teeth intentionally, and because you're not making any imposing movements, it kind of goes back to relaxing and
What?
Y'all heard that, right?
Was it
Yeah.
like a motorcycle? Because if so, that was me. Like outside.
Oh no. Okay. It
I
sounds
need you all to roll
little bit
initiative.
Like UFOs are falling. So
Okay, sorry.
Like a portal to hell was opening. That's what it's,
Sorry, that was
it's great. It was
outside here.
Awesome. Gonna have to steal that sound clip. So the bird is relaxed in your presence and resumes looking for its next meal. What are you doing?
Friend, we could use some help finding a encampment of bad people. Could you possibly lend us a hand? And in turn, I could perform a service for you.
Do you have speak with animals?
No.
Whoop.
She's used to talking to a magical crow.
Which is fair, because you encounter this crow, like crows usually every so often, which has gotten you to this point. Again, that's a good omen for you, but no response from this whooping crane.
I take out some rations from my pocket, and I want to try to lure it back to the group.
It doesn't pay any attention.
find it a crab or a fish or something. Maybe it'll be happier with that.
I cast sleep on it.
I mean, okay, go for it.
I'm just gonna use a dice roller for this, and I got 32 hit dice.
Yeah, it's got like 2 HP. You put it to sleep.
I pick it up and I run back to the camp with it.
How many fish just came up out of the water also? Just
Yeah, just like you, like as you leave, like it's just like bloop, 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 bloop.
This
I
also
pick up a bunch of fish too.
This only lasts for minutes, so you're gonna come back and this bird's gonna freak the heck out.
I'm gonna tie a string to it.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Did that happen?
The druid is not having a good time.
You're asleep, it's fine.
I know, I'm napping for 8 hours.
Also, for my wild magic surge, I rolled a 40, so I regained 2d10 hit points
Yay!
with my full health.
Very nice. Oh my gosh! Just all of this. I don't know.
14. My hit points are doubled.
So you return back to camp with a bird and a bunch of fish that are
Audrey, I found the
sleeping in your
whoop-whoop bird.
arms.
I put the bird on his lap.
What?
It's the whoop whoop bird. The one
Why
that goes whoop whoop.
Why did you bring the whoop whoop bird?
So Audrey can ask it for directions.
Audrey's asleep. I don't know what you want from him.
I'm gonna poke him in the face until he wakes up.
You're gonna have like 10 seconds before this bird wakes up.
What's the matter? What's going on?
I found the whoop whoop bird and I made it go to sleep, and I brought it here so you could talk to it.
He looks down and sees the whoop whoop bird.
Whoop whoop.
And he's gonna panic. And very, very quickly cast animal friendship. And we'll see if that works.
Oh my god.
Does the creature have an intelligence above 4?
You can't even have stats for a fucking whoop whoop. Based on the choker stats, no, it does not.
Oh, it's a choker in disguise as a whoop whoop bird.
Totally. No.
So then it needs to make a wisdom
has a 3.
saving throw, please.
Okay. That's a nat 3, so it fails.
Cool. So it doesn't see me as an enemy,
The rest
and
of
it's
them, however,
charmed by me, so it likes me,
Mm, okay.
which is cool and fun.
So what do you look like right now as you've cast this spell? Please paint me this picture before I wake this bird up.
I think so Audrey sits up and Chris says, "Oh yeah, there's a whoop whoop bird on your lap." And Audrey, being the 7'8" furbolg that he is, looks down, sees the whoop whoop bird, panics, and just like slaps its side, not very hard, but like a pat. And then his hands glow green, and this green light begins to like diffuse around the bird. And he just has his hands up and is waiting for the bird to wake up. And he's not moving. He can't move. It's on his leg. He can't wake it up.
And Chris tries to help by putting her daisy chain on Audrey's head to make him look pretty.
Rental, where are you and what are you doing? As like this, you see this happening.
have like taken off like my chainmail because it's hot and it's sweaty, and I'm not about to wear these 50 pounds of just metal on my body while we're just resting. And I'm in the middle of just like doing like some practice working out, working on my physique, when I hear the whoop whooping stop, a splash 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 splash, and that shoop 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 sound when you're running through mud, approaching us like off in the distance and approaching us very quickly. I turn over, I see Chris, who left with like a very fantastical look on her face, and then coming back with a full grown, almost as big as her crane, asleep. I don't even know how you're carrying it, but man, are you running just towards us. Throw it on Audrey, who is asleep on your mud bed, and just like frantically, and Audrey being like, and I'm just like, I am in the background, like I was like, I turn around and I'm just like, just gonna turn around and just do my thing on the other side.
Yes. So you're doing your thing. Audrey, you have your hands up in the air and you can feel the weight of the bird start to shift. The muscles no longer relax. They tense up, and immediately, like almost knowingly, the bird snaps up quickly and like looks around, wings expanded to make itself look much larger and hopefully more like a predator. It looks to Chrysanthemum first and just starts whooping like it's never whooped before, but immediately recognizes that it is in kind of the grasp of an even larger creature, and its head kind of cranes to look at you, Audrey, and the wings kind of start coming down a bit, but then it looks back over to Chris and then back over to you, like waiting.
It's charmed by me. It likes me.
Take out one of the fish that I picked up and awkwardly hold it.
Was also now awake.
Yeah,
the fish is also awake now.
I think it's dead. I think it's suffocated.
A minute out of water, it's
suffocating.
fine. It's fine. You're good.
I take it out and then it wakes up and it starts flailing and I drop it.
But the second one, you know it's awake, so you got the second one fine.
Oh my gosh.
I think Audrey starts speaking in Sylvan because luckily he can communicate in Sylvan and understand responses.
Oh, I speak Sylvan too.
But you can't understand them.
Yeah, I can.
It's a special Furbolg thing.
Oh, okay.
For the class that I'm in.
Okay.
And so I look at the crane and say, "Oh, hold on there, pretty bird. We're friends. We're not gonna hurt you. Chris, please give me a fish slowly.
Slowly.
What are we rolling for? Wild magic search? What's happening?
It was sleight of hand. Very, very slow, like almost too slow, hand you the fish.
And he's just like staring at you and staring at this bird and staring at you. And then he takes the fish and he holds it up to the crane and says, "Here's a bite to eat if you like it. It's a yummy, yummy fish."
So you see the crane kind of like standing tall, and it's moving
On my
its
lap.
head away from you. Yeah, on your lap. That's a dang old big crane. Cranes are huge. I have no idea how big a whooping crane is. It's fine. In the Feywild, they're huge. And it's kind of just like, again, pulling its head away from you as if it's rejecting the fish. And then without even... like, it just moves so fast that you have to look to see if you still have fingers. It snaps its beak at you and just swallows the fish whole. Just like that.
Now that's a good bird. Now, could you do us a little favor? I can understand it back, so if it's communicating in any form, I can understand
It hasn't yet. It's listening.
Let him finish chewing. Let him finish eating.
Cranes don't chew, they just swallow the food that they get.
Wow. Just let it finish swallowing? I don't know.
I, as Russ, laugh. I, as Audrey, do not laugh because I don't understand the joke.
That was a joke.
So, can you help us?
Everybody else is going to hear whoop, whoop, just a bunch of whooping. Calm whooping, though.
And Chris like bites her lips to keep herself from whooping as well.
But you hear in the background, Rental go whoop whoop.
Totally. This bird man. But the crane looks to you, Audrey, and in a very regal kind of voice. Yes, what is it you need? I could be of some assistance.
We need help finding a group of people, lots of people, in the woods or in the swamps who are causing some trouble, hurting the Feywild. We're looking to go and stop them. Have you seen anything like that?
Many things like that, I suspect. Give me a moment. And it kind of like steps off of your leg and kind of walks away for a second and just starts whooping. Now again, everybody else is hearing whooping. Audrey, you're hearing something more like, Horace! Hey, Horace! I don't know how loud that is, I'm sorry. Hopefully not that loud. Have you seen some bad guys in the area? And you're gonna hear whooping.
Why has this bird gone from regal elegant to New York?
Because it's a goddamn whooping bird. That's what they do. And you're gonna hear the whooping from, way far away. And it's like... Fucking dude. Mom! Go around the big tree! There's a group of people over there! And again, everybody else is just hearing whoop, 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 whoop. And the crane's
Audrey.
gonna come back to you, Audrey. Oh, go ahead.
Audrey, I have a request.
Oh yeah,
want-
what is it?
I want you to ask it 2 things for me. 1,
Okay.
I want you to ask it if it will consent to be our mascot.
Okay, I don't think they know what mascots are, but okay.
2, I want it to teach me how to say whoop whoop in crane.
You mean say whoop whoop in whoop whoop?
Yes.
Okay, I can ask. I don't know if it'll translate though, but we'll see.
I feel like if I can learn that, we can form a really strong bond with these cranes. A bond of friendship that will transcend all of time and space.
Okay. All right. And he's just gonna turn around and look back at the screen.
Marv, the crane, is gonna turn and look to you now, and again with this forcibly regal voice. Whoa. Yes, there's a group nearby. We could show you the way.
That'd be great. Do you have good hearing?
Excellent hearing. The best hearing
Okay.
of these lands.
And then Audrey is going to drop his voice, like, to as quiet as possible, and just say, the crazy lady over here has a bunch of questions for you. You can just ignore them, but I'm gonna ask them anyway to appease her.
Ask away.
And then at a normal voice says, would you like to be our representative?
No.
Okay. Could you also teach this lady over here, and he gestures at Chris and says, how to say whoop whoop in your common tongue?
And the crane just kind of slowly turns to look at Chris and looks right at you with its beady yellow eyes. And it says, whoop whoop.
There you go.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop whoop.
I feel like you're really butchering the tone. A lot of it has to do with the height in your voice.
No, well, I speak crow, so I don't need to deal with this.
You were the one who said you wanted a crane. Anyways, did I get my 8-hour nap? I'm not sure.
Let's go.
Marv is gonna look back to you, Audrey. Just follow the sounds of the whoop. My people will guide you.
If we, you should ask them if we get lost, if we yell whoop whoop, if they could yell whoop whoop to help us get back on track.
Are you saying that in Sylvan?
Yeah.
Okay, because he can understand you.
Yeah.
It's just that you can't understand him.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna just point at Chris and be like, what the kind lady said?
Yes, you have fed me respectably. We will hear your call and answer if you need our assistance.
Cool. Well, let's get a move on. I need to ask the DM if I actually got that 8-hour rest, because I need to know which spell slots I have now.
Yes, we'll say you got an 8 hour rest.
Okay.
Anybody else that
'cause-
needed to rest in the meantime as well.
because that was like in the middle of me trying to rest, and that was a whole mess, and I had no idea what was really going on. So there we go.
Time's weird in the Feywild.
As we're going, I'm going to.
Before we go, I want to take all the fish out of my pockets and just drop them in front of the crane.
Splashing in the water, just trying to flitter away. And I think you're going to see the crane just poised and like looking at you, Audrey. Good day. It just like goes down and like snaps up and then just, waddling away as you hear the sounds
Of distant whooping.
of very distant whooping, but there's some whooping.
So Audrey's gonna look at Rental and say, so you wanted something to help you carry all your junk?
I mean, it'd be nice.
You're right. We should get a giant crane.
I'm gonna ignore that and continue with this conversation.
Look, it's not a bad idea.
We can't tame a bird. They're too flighty.
You don't tame it, you befriend it.
That one's only gonna last for an hour. It's only gonna be so long before he remembers that you put him to sleep.
He doesn't know that I put him to sleep.
Well, he knows that he woke up on a strange man's lap, and I don't think that just happens by random.
You're not a stranger, you're a friend.
For an hour.
Yeah, so let's go.
And I'm gonna look at Rental and be like, would you like me to help you find some creature that could possibly help you out? I won't be able to charm him for you, though. That'll be up to you.
That would be mighty useful if you could. I'd
Get a
be very-
hippopotamus.
Like I said, it's up to you to figure out to convince the creature to go with you. I can't do it for you. So if the creature tries to maul you, I can help, but
That's comforting.
don't be mean.
When have I ever been mean?
Gives you a narrowed look with his eyes.
Flashbacks to all the times I've been mean to Audrey.
Yep.
Totally.
Chris is like, you're right. You're like the nicest person in this whole group.
Flashback to the time you threw a rock at me and nearly killed me.
Probably like tripped Audrey or like put a snake in their boot or just like little pranks. Fun stuff.
So I'm gonna cast my 2nd level spell again that I just got back. To cast locate animals or plants.
Oh.
And I'm specifically looking for a beast of burden, like a horse, or an elephant, or a hippopotamus, or a velociraptor.
Or a triceratops.
Triceratops would work too.
Ankylosaurus.
T-Rex. I would like a T-Rex. That'd be great.
Oh my god, is this when we get our Triceratops gnome?
Oh my god, we're
Giant
gonna get the
turtle?
Triceratops! Yes! Finally! Oh, just one day. One day, PP.
We will get our Triceratops ranch. It's our end game. For one game we'll play together. That'll be our end game.
Right? Oh, what can I give you?
There's no triceratops, only Deuceratops.
What is this? Ooh, what is
A Stegosaurus?
this creature?
A lion? A swamp lion?
A really big dog.
Just like the biggest dog.
We could get one of the sea hags. Just make her really big.
You just make the sea hag carry you?
Yeah, her burden is that she's a hag.
just holds you, carries you. Let's see.
Spicy sea witch is my aesthetic.
The chest from Discworld, the Discworld books.
Mm-hmm.
All the little legs.
Oh, let's see. I'm
A
looking
treant?
for something real quick. In the meantime, as you are walking and you do hear occasionally the calls of a whooping, What are you doing while you are waiting for a Lyft driver?
We contacted a Lyft.
Oh my god.
Currently searching the area for an available driver.
I think Audrey is kind of just like looking at his tattoos and like looking around. And I think he's just observing the area, trying to see if there's any more like of that plague stuff that they've seen from before. Because I know that they were saying that like the void mages cause it, so he's trying to see if like they're getting close based on the environment around them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm working on my intimidation skills. Where I will see a small critter, probably like a lizard or something, on the ground just scurrying, or like one of those big bugs from like the Lion King movie that we like walking around minding its own business. Doing that and trying to like spook it, so it only pays attention to me and nothing else in the surrounding area.
And I'm looking for crows.
Okay.
I think Audrey sees you like trying to scare bugs, and he's just like, I don't think that's gonna work on whatever we find.
I'm not doing it for whatever we find. Why would I want to intimidate the thing I want to ride? That's the best way to get knocked off.
Okay. It just seemed a little strange that you're trying to scare some bugs off when we're trying to find you a beast of burden.
Look, you won't ever let me scare whatever we're fighting. I have to keep up my ability somehow.
I mean,
Imagine if you could scare away mosquitoes.
That would be incredible.
I know, right?
If you could scare away mosquitoes, I would never let you leave my side. Because, dear Lord, do mosquitoes love me?
I mean, there's a lot of you to love. I say,
Is that a fat joke?
That's really rude of you.
I know I'm a big guy, but that's kind of mean.
You do realize you're like 2 heads taller than me, right? Or like twice the size of Chris.
Well, yeah, but that's just...
Audrey, you are the handsomest furbolg I've ever seen.
He like starts blushing. He says, I'm probably the only furbolg you've ever seen.
No, I've seen at least 20.
He blushes even more. Well, thanks.
I'm gonna climb this tree now and see if I can find any crows.
Okay, good luck.
You keep staring down this beetle.
Go ahead.
And Audrey just keeps walking.
Yeah. What'd you get? I'm assuming you rolled, Kika.
Oh,
What am I rolling for?
climbing. You're climbing a tree.
Yeah.
Climb that tree?
Yeah.
You don't just auto succeed on
I-
climbing trees anymore.
I got an 11.
Okay. I mean, these trees are actually pretty easy to climb. They've got tons of roots and vines
Branches.
and stuff all over them. So yeah, you're able to climb. No problems. As you're kind of climbing, and Runta is staring down this big old bug, Audrey,
Mhm.
you hear the equivalent of the Lyft driver like ding ding noise that it makes echoing through your head, and for a moment your vision is just tunneled, and it's almost like a camera is just weaving through the swamp and eventually lands you in an area still swampy, but there is a large creature over here. You can't quite tell what it is. It's kind of hidden by some of the trees. It looks like it's almost covered in vines, and just some of like the foliage is holding it down. So you can't quite make out what it is, but it looks like it needs help. And your vision is brought back.
There's what looks to be a big heckin' chonker over that way, but it needs some help. It looks like it's trapped or something.
Well, let's go help it out.
Okay, off we go.
What's a chonker?
I don't know. It's something my mom always says when she talks about her dog.
Ah.
I
Well,
really
give me
thought
one
you were
sec. I
gonna
want
say
to
you.
want to yell to any crows that are in the area and see if I get a response.
Okay.
And she just goes, ah, ah, ah.
Okay.
Crow screaming.
Yeah.
You hear whoop whoop.
Chris just looks very sad and doesn't whoop and climbs down the tree. It's like, okay, let's go.
That's fair. That's fair. So you, Audrey, you're kind of leading the way, and it'll take you a little bit to get to the location that you had seen this creature, and you're still able to track it because of the spell pretty clearly. And the water, though, is sinking. It is getting much deeper. Probably waist high on everybody else, thigh high probably for Audrey, and the trees seem different. There's just a different aura in this area, and almost suffocating, withering, unpleasant. Not so much in scent, but again, just this sense. And you can hear now, like, the faint crying of a creature. What are you doing?
I think Audrey would look at the rest and say, I think your beast of burden's that way. We should probably move a little quickly, though. Sounds like it's in danger.
Oh, snap. Well, let's get going. Up the pace. Let's go.
Okay. So you start moving faster towards where you can hear the cry, or the whimpering, I should say. It's pretty faint. And you come to an area, again, the water is just kind of getting a little bit more deeper, way muckier. You know, it's just not pretty looking. It's swamp. And there are a couple large stones, you know, kind of throughout now. Some broken trees, so big trunks that are just, you know, left with, you know, moss and vine and stuff growing out from them. And you come to this area where you can now very clearly see this creature just kind of like struggling under the weight of these thick green and brownish vines that just seem to be slowly moving across this creature.
Oh gosh. Can I frostbite the vines?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna try to freeze them with frostbite, and the vines need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. You say Constitution?
Yeah. DC 13.
Okay. Plus. Where'd it go?
I've rolled a 92. Good luck.
No.
If he's looking something up, that means that there's stats involved, which means that there's an actual creature.
17. That's a plus
17?
for me. Yeah.
That's spicy, and I don't like that.
Okay, it resists.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, it even really resisted. Okay. I need you all to roll initiative, and then PB, I'll let you go ahead and say what you wanted to
No.
say.
I was just,
No.
that went so far. 16 to 18.
17.
All right, hang on.
11.
Wait, no. 19, sorry.
I'm gonna move this guy.
I got a
here
19.
now.
Why are your dice so spicy today?
My
Previous
dice are always spicy.
are always spicy. All right, so
they're
Chris,
they're also Transpride dice.
Oh,
those are the
yay.
best dice. Oh, they work so well for me too. They're really good. You got a 19? Is that what you said, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay. Rental.
18.
And an 18. And Audrey.
11.
You had the 11. Okay. So Rental, you wanted to you were saying something, so we'll let you go ahead.
I was just gonna start running up ahead because I don't have anything to destroy vines except my sword. So I was just gonna run forward.
That's fair.
Time to run.
All right. Easy. So Chris, you have cast the spell to seemingly no effect. The vines don't move. They almost seem to tighten more and twist even further. You can hear the creature kind of like caw out.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no,
What
oh
do you
no. Chris is going to do what she always does and cast sleep at level 2.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Mm, 16. $37.
And what does your sleep look like? You want to go ahead?
Same again, more butterflies.
Tons of butterflies. Okay.
Yeah.
So these butterflies that are just kind of like flying at this, at these vines with the yes.
Question, Professor.
Yes, my child.
Do both of these creatures have more than 26 hit points? Yeah. Then I fall asleep because I have 26 hit points.
Are you like right on them?
Are you?
What's the radius on it?
It's a 20-foot radius, but I wouldn't drop it on you.
Yeah,
just making sure.
I don't think Chris or Kika would do that. I think you're okay.
I think we're at a point of sleep where like that's happened once already, so now we know not to get very close.
Yeah, I can totally see that happen. So your sleepy butterflies just slam into these twisting vines, and little vines
and I also
grow
cast
out.
fog cloud centered on myself.
Can you please read Fog Cloud, the Wild Magic Sorcery? I love it.
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. What is
Fog cloud?
Fog Cloud?
Let me look it up. You create a 20-foot radius sphere of fog centered on a point within range, so myself. And the sphere spreads around corners, and its area is heavily obscured, lasts for the duration or until a wind of moderate or greater speed disperses it, and so the duration is 1 hour.
Okay. So there's just, and does it give like disadvantage on anything trying to attack you?
It's heavy obscure.
Okay.
It's heavily obscured, so
okay.
It's hard to see. I think attackers have disadvantage.
I think so.
Just
we'll
just
play
enough.
it out that way. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your butterflies are literally being engulfed by these vines. They're just kind of opening up a little bit and just like swallowing them, and continuing to twist. And now there's tons of smoke billowing from Chris that kind of covers the area. Audrey and Renta, you are both engulfed in this smoke, obscuring your vision against the target as well, until you step outside the cloud. Renta, you're up next.
Okay.
Y'all wanted to go on the Paladin Mount quest. Y'all gonna get a Paladin Mount quest.
With some bonuses here. I'm just reading what heavily obscured means for us.
we all die instantaneously.
Immediately. You can't breathe. You suffocate.
No,
Yeah.
it's just really foggy.
Oh, whoops, I accidentally cast Cloud Kill. So sorry.
My apologies.
Technically, it could happen. Anything can happen when you have wild magic.
Anything can happen. Well, technically, I was already running in a direction towards this beast.
Mm-hmm.
So as
Yes.
long as I keep just going in that direction, hopefully I'll just be fine. And so I'm just gonna run that way until I find the beast and the vines, which may or may not be in the fog.
Okay, so heavily obscured, like opaque fog or dense foliage, blocks vision entirely. You are considered blinded in this area.
But it is a 20-foot radius.
In
so
a 20-foot radius focused on Chris.
So if you like run out of it, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and Renta was already running, so if she keeps running in that direction, she'll poof out of it and see everything in front of her. So you'll be fine if you make your movement closer.
Okay, sweet. So yeah, I just keep going the way I'm going as this fog descends upon me. And I feel like right before it totally engulfs the ground, I just come out of it just in time to see the beast and the vines. And
That makes it look really cool.
This beast, even though it's dying, thinks I look real cool right now. It's like, you know what? I might die, but you know what? I'm glad I was alive to see that.
And at least give you like advantage on like a charm check or something with it, because it's like, whoa, yeah, that's a cool person. Yeah.
I'm just out with my sword, and I aim for the vines, and I just attack it.
Okay, go ahead and roll your attack.
Please be a good number. I would really appreciate it. Oh wait, I have a cool new thing. What does this thing do? I am going to mark the vine. Use my unwavering mark as I try to hit this thing with my melee weapon attack. If I hit it, I'll let you know what it does.
Okay.
Okay, 16 plus 4, 20.
Yep, that definitely hits.
All right, so with my unwavering mark, I mark the creature until the end of the next turn, or if I'm, that doesn't matter. While it is within 5 feet of me, a merc creature has disadvantage on any attack roll that doesn't target myself. If the merc creature deals damage to anyone else, I can make a special melee attack against it on my next turn as a bonus action with advantage and +1 extra damage. All right, cool.
That's pretty
I'm
dang
also
cool.
What do I do now? I attack this thing with my sword. The D8. That's the number I want. Okay. I'm very... No one saw that? We're just going to try that one again. Just threw that across the room. All right. 7 plus 4. I hit it for 11.
Okay, you definitely... Your sword finds purchase into one of the vines, but it feels more like you're cutting through like a thick piece of wood, and it just doesn't seem to have any impact. So, but you're able to pull your sword back out. The attack did not hit.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Slashing damage, not a thing then. Cool. No doubt. All right, cool.
Well, slashing damage. Correction. Slashing damage does impact it. You just didn't get past its armor class. So you hit it. It just was an ineffective blow.
It's more than 20? Oh my gosh.
No,
okay.
you said 11.
With damage. 11 damage.
Oh!
I hit
Oh
for
my
20.
god. Oh god. Okay. Yeah. No. Sorry. I thought you.
Like, wait, 20 is too little?
Yeah,
Guys,
y'all fucked now.
I was gonna say if the armor class is 20, then I think this beast of burden is dead. Like we can stop this.
Leave it
That's
now.
you know?
No. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. My bad. My apologies.
Take me
Yes.
home, please.
You hit. It takes 11 damage. Correct?
Yes.
How would you like to cut through one of the vines?
That was the scariest moment of my life. Like, we are level 3. Excuse me.
Oh, I know.
I don't know what to do now.
When you find out what this is, you're gonna be mad. It's fine.
It's a roper. We should have known. And as I slash through it, I come out of the of the fog, and with like almost a fury to my actions, I come out, and my usually all black eyes are actually burning a little bit with white fury. And I come in and I just take my sword and I swipe up with it and away from the beast of burden. Ideally one that is the first one I see. Because fuck you. Stop hurting this thing.
That's fair. And like it just kind of like splits and kind of almost, it doesn't wither, but like the part that's still living just kind of like kind of tightens and retracts a bit. And as it does so, the creature kind of cries out again as all of the vines start shifting once more and seemingly loosen up a bit. And as you're staring, kind of preparing for your next attack, right? The ground just starts shifting, and the creature that's encased in these vines is also being lifted into the air, and this massive mound of writhing vines and other plant-like appendages essentially stands much taller than Audrey, and it kind of unfurls its twisted vine arms, and they start waving around slowly, and it is going to...
It's okay, you guys have no idea this is happening. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, you can't even see. It's totally fine.
You're just hearing some... You remember that noise you heard earlier? That's what you're hearing right now while you're in this fog. Just
all right, it's going to swing its arm at you.
How dare.
That is +7.
What?
That's a 21 to hit.
It has a plus what to hit?
It's fine.
A plus what?
Yeah, I'm assuming that hits. So you're gonna take... That's bad. You're gonna take 4. I rolled so poorly. 8 points of blood.
Is this a thing I marked? Is it?
It is the thing that you marked. Yes.
It has disadvantage to hit you.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a nat 16, so it's gonna still.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, continue on.
Sorry. Thank you though. Please call me out for that. Definitely remind me that.
Definitely didn't want to survive this fight.
Yeah, no, who wants to survive this fight? Yeah, so you are going to take 8 points of a bludgeoning damage.
How many did you say there?
8.
8? Okay. Cool. That's cool. Oh, we're cool. It's cool.
That's its turn. Audrey!
Audrey's behind a cloud and doesn't know what's happening. Actually, she's inside the cloud.
Scary noises.
You probably hear like water splashing as this big
Splish splash.
shambling arms comes down and just
Taking a
slams into Renta.
So Audrey's gonna do the only thing that makes sense and run out of the cloud forward to see what's happening.
Sure.
So what do I see?
You see this massive moving wreath tangle towering
toweling
over Renta with this creature wrapped inside its like chest cavity. And you watch as the arm swings down and just crushes into Renta. You are looking at a shambling mound.
Oh, that's spicy.
Oh, it's spicy.
That's
Modified,
so
but spicy.
So Audrey, first thing he's gonna do is he's gonna look at this thing and go, "Oh heck!" I know that's not his accent. I forgot the accent. Oh heck! And then he's going to very quickly give up a little prayer, not to his god, but to the spirits of the forest. And I'm gonna go ahead and summon a little friend. Because bursting out of the forest is a bear made of this white silvery light, and it sprints up to us and stands behind us. So my good friend Rantal, you are going to gain 8 temporary hit points.
Thank you.
And you will have advantage on all strength checks and strength saving throws in this aura.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let me just add that to my HP also. And then he's going to panic and wild shape. And so myself and Joey have discussed this off camera about our good friend Audrey not being able to control his wild shape in the Feywild. So I'm gonna roll a d8 and we'll see what he becomes. I have a good small list, and then I'll expand that and get it approved by Joey at a later date.
If there's a small bird, it's going to be replaced with a whooping crane.
Okay, that's fine. So...
lay it on us, Russ.
It's not a small bird.
That's fine.
Snake.
It's a velociraptor.
Happy right now.
What does Velosa Audrey look like?
So Velosa Audrey, like all of Audrey's wild shapes, looks exactly like it should, except it has floppy brown cow ears on the side of its head.
Yes.
And the Velociraptor just stands there because that's his action, and is going to just sort of at the big scary monster.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's my turn.
All right.
Good luck, everyone. I wish you the best.
Chris, we're at the top of the order. What would you like to
Well,
do? Just you're surrounded by fog. Audrey leaves you. You have a
I
sight to
proceed
see.
forward to get out of this fog because I'm confused by this fog because I've never done this before. And when I come out, I suppose I see a velociraptor. And I freak out a bit because that is surprising and new. But then I rolled perception and I noticed the ears. Like, don't scare me like that. That is terrifying. I'm gonna think of a name for this later.
He has feathers and everything too. Don't forget that.
Ferdinand. And she turns to the mound thing, and she's gonna try to color spray it to blind it. I don't know. That's just what she doesn't know anything about this thing.
Okay.
So she's gonna do that, and so that is 60-10 worth of hit points. So that's a d6. Sorry, I'm just gonna use a dice roller here. 6d10. That is 30 hit points of. If it has 30 or less hit points, it is blinded.
Okay.
But that is a first level spell, so I can also wild magic surge if you like.
Go ahead and yes, please, wild magic surge. Then explain what the spell looks like.
Okay. I cast Grease centered on myself. I am so not helpful. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's helpful if you need a getaway. It's like a Looney Tunes trap or something. You run through the grease and then you run through the fog. You just leave it a mess.
So I take out my gem and I point it at the creature and I basically like shake it a bit and I'm like, magic spell, and then just like it basically like there's a coughing noise and like this big puff of like sparkles just shoots out and like covers this shambling mound, and then like the gems just starts leaking this like goo and that's it. The grease getting cast, it just pours out of the gem onto the ground.
Oh my gosh, amazing! So you're like literally an oil spill right now in this water. The grease is just like dissipating all over the place. The blindness effect, though, seems to have no effect.
Yeah, I imagine so. Not a combat built character, but that's my turn.
Okay. Renta, you're up.
I just stay where I am.
Oh, I need to make a dexterity saving throw or fall prone.
Because of the grease? Please do.
It just never ends. It just never ends.
Oh.
Well, thankfully I beat my own spells DC, so
Good. Goodness gracious. All right.
Are we
Renta.
standing in grease or are we far enough away?
You're far enough away. It has not reached you yet. You're
Oh,
fine.
but you can see me like going like whoa, slipping around.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to once again attack this thing. Now that it's at its full height, with my long sword, and I'll mark it again if I hit.
Okay.
That is a hit DC is +4. That's an 18 to hit.
Absolutely hits.
All right, and it is marked again. I reread through the thing. It has disadvantage if it hits somebody else, not me.
Okay.
What am I gonna do? Damage. Yes, I know how. Game. I thought that was a 9 for a second, and I was very confused. That's 6 + 4, 10 damage.
All right. Very nice. And that's what type of damage?
Slashing.
Okay. Thank you.
And then I'm going to use my action surge.
Okay.
The one with the additional, action surge. And I'm gonna attempt to attack it once more. You know what? I'll take it. That fell out of my hand, but it's fine. That's a 13 + 4, 17.
Yep, 17 will hit.
All right. If you guys would have seen me, you would have seen just my utter shock looking down at the betrayal. That is a 7.
Okay, so another 7 slashing. Fantastic. Go ahead and explain your actions.
So I stand there. There's an entire kerfuffle that happens behind me and this entire time, but my eyes are just on this shambling mound that's risen from the ground, and my eyes are on this beast that is slightly engulfed by this thing. And I'm just like, let go of this creature, and I change my the way I'm holding my sword, and I slash one way down, really like nicking in there, getting a lot of it with my slash, and then with a sudden surge of just energy, just this fiery passion as I'm looking at this poor creature trapped by this mound. I come back up and I miss a little bit more than I did my first time, but I'm just like, let it go. And I hit it again. And I'm just staring it down, just like taunting it to only hit me, and that this fight is between us and no one else.
Okay. So as you kind of yell at it to let it go, and you very Yu-Gi-Oh style, you swing up and slash through one of the another one of the vines that's restrained this creature. You hear this like bellowing sound. There's no mouth, but you can hear like a and the vines start shifting, and this creature who was once entangled is just like pushed out of its body and splashing into the gnarly waters of the swamp, and it looks to you very unhappy.
The one on the creature or the mound?
The mound. The creature's splashed, kind of submerged in the water right now.
Oh, okay.
And
I look at it, bare my teeth, and I just squat down in a more defensive position, and I just snarl at it.
Okay. It is gonna open both of its arms up and try to just like collapse on top of you. I need you to make
a strength save?
Yep. Please make a strength saving throw.
You have advantage because of the bear.
You got advantage.
Yes. Out here. So here for this.
I love seeing the bear, like the totem stuff in play. It's just so cool.
Saving throw, right?
Yep.
16 plus 4, 20.
Ooh. How do you evade this? How do you get out of this? I mean, it is coming down, just this like wave of twisted vines looking to literally engulf you.
While before, my instinct would have been to just run at it and use that opening as to my advantage. Just through our journeys, and after meeting that bear, that passive bear that just led us by, and then being just blessed with the spirit of the bear by Audrey, I use that patience and that wisdom to choose my moment where I see this thing coming down, and when it can no longer change its direction and has chosen it's only going to fall right where it thinks I am, I spring out of the way to one side, and it nicks me a little bit as I'm going, just because it's so large. But just I use this inner strength given to me by Audrey, and also the fire in my soul by Cetilian, and I shrug it back up, almost pushing it as I get out of the way. And I stand over in a different stance next to it, a little bit to the side, staring at it once more, waiting to see what it's going to do. Just feeling this strength coursing through my body.
So cool. So awesome. And it splashes into the water. And at this point, it just looks like a stone covered in vines.
But Audrey? I know better, motherfucker.
You do know better now. Audrey, it is your turn.
So he doesn't have any bonus actions in Velociraptor form, unfortunately. But what he does have is the ability to do a Velociraptor call. So he's going to do that. He's going to make the classic Jurassic Park ooh, ooh call thing. And then he like looks at Rental with like big excited eyes, then it's going to jump onto this creature's back and start clawing it open and biting at it. And he's going to use his multi-attack.
Go for it.
And he gets pack tactics on this too. So
yes,
yay.
he does. Velociraptors, nice.
That is going to be a non-natural 20 to hit with the bite.
Okay, that hits.
Okay, and then that is going to be 5 damage.
Okay.
Piercing.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the claws, that is a 15 to hit.
15 does hit. Correct. You're good.
Cool. And that is going to be very spicy 4 damage.
Okay.
As he just leaps onto this creature's back now that it's laying flat and just starts biting into these vines and just slashing them apart with his little claws.
And you're doing like, I mean, you're getting in there with like no problem, but every time that you like kind of pull back a piece and you hear that satisfying like snap of one of the vines, it's almost like another one just kind of shifts to take its spot. But it's taking some hits. It's taking some good hits. Chris, you're up.
Well, none of my spells are working, apparently. So I'm going to activate my Tides of Chaos to give myself advantage on an attack.
Hey, sorcerer!
I'm just going to attack with my sling.
Okay, go for it. A sling's a sling.
Yeah, good thing I took that advantage. Because the second one is a 23 to hit.
23 will hit.
The first one was an 11.
11 would not.
Yeah.
I mean, it might hit. It just wouldn't do anything.
6 damage.
Hey, that's some good sling action. So what does this look like?
Chrysanthemum hooks a rock at it. Just and the rock flies out at it and just like stunks against it, I guess. Leaves a dent.
So we'll say like there's this piece of a vine that is like snapping out to attack Audrey in raptor form, and it's just like slapped away because of this stone that you slung. It's
like
in this direction.
No, bad mound, bad plant thing.
Anything else?
See, I think. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Renta.
So this beast is now out of this shambling mound, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And Audrey, you fell on the side where the beast was, right? And not on the other way. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Definitely on the side of the beast.
Totally on the side.
Beast is my friend.
I am going to find an angle in which I can cast Burning Hands towards the shambling mound. And then I would once again, I move my sword where when I drop it, it falls straight down into the mud with easy access for me to pick it up on my next turn. And I do the hand waving thing this time a little bit lower, so I aim up a little bit more at it, so I'm hitting more of its center mass. And I cast Burning Hands at it. Please try and make a saving throw of 12.
Let's see. Well, it's not a very dexterous creature, so no. That's a 2.
You ever get a new dice and you don't know what the numbers are sometimes? So you look at the rest of the die to see what's missing? That's a 6. I hit it for 6, 2, 1, 9 points of fire damage.
Okay. So you watch as this like almost like divine flame energy starts to crawl up it for a moment, but it doesn't seem as effective as you wanted it to be.
Damn, this motherfucker. All right. I
These
am.
things are nasty.
I'm gonna use that when I take more damage. So I am just going to growl at it again, just taunting it towards me. Although this time it's not marked, but still taunting it at myself.
Okay. It's going to shift one of its arms as it's like kind of now standing up and try to swipe off the velociraptor on its back. So that is it still marked? No? Okay. So it is going to swing at Velociraptor. That's a nat 16 plus 7.
That might hit.
Is it good? Is it maybe?
Just might. Just like a little bit.
Just like
a little scratch.
Just oh fuck. This thing hits so hard. That is 14 points of bludgeoning damage.
Guess who's still a velociraptor?
Oh!
This boy, because of my temp HP.
It's beautiful. Yes.
Bear totem for the win.
So good. So helpful. Oh my god, that was a big hit.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big hit. It does not have any other actions though. So Audrey.
It's bite time.
Do it.
So Audrey, after getting smacked so hard, gets back up from the mud and just like starts climbing this creature again to bite it again because he's not having it. And once again, I roll with advantage because pack tactics are lovely. So that is going to be 15 to hit for the first attack.
15 will hit.
And then a natural 20 for the second attack.
Woohoo! All right.
If I can find my d6s, that would be great. Okay. So first attack, which is not the nat 20, that is going to be 4 damage.
Okay.
Second attack, max damage. That's 10. That's the max his claw can do.
That is so 14 total damage to this fella. And go ahead and what are you doing? What's this look like?
I think that he can tell that this creature is like reforming itself as he's like clawing it apart. So I think what he does is that he goes for a bite and like rips off part of the surface of the creature. Then as it starts to grow back, he takes both claws, grabs this new vine, and just tears it to shreds, leaving like a hole inside this creature's side.
Yes, I love it. It's taking a beating. It's definitely taking a beating at this point. We are back to the top of the order. Chris!
Yes, me and my super effectiveness.
Hey, you that wild magic could come really, really handy.
I guess. I could try to put it to sleep again. I think I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to spend 2 sorcery points to regain a 2nd level spell slot and cast Sleep again.
All right.
And Hope. Yeah, so that is a total of 40.
I'm asleep.
I would try to clip it so you're not in it.
There's no way you're gonna hit.
We're right up against it.
You have rental and Audrey.
I
Both of
have
them.
no way to.
They're engaged. They are
Yeah.
actively engaged with
And
this
we're both on
creature.
either side of the creature.
Uh,
Do you still want to cast it?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Okay.
And my wild magic surge is a 70. Which is each creature within 30 feet of you becomes invisible for the next minute.
So, PB, Russ, what are your HPs?
I mean, does it matter? I'm at 20 with 8 at temp, but I don't know if that counts.
4.
Okay, so
That is my Velociraptor form's HP right now, is 4.
so the Velociraptor just falls off, asleep. Ren, yours was 20 without the 8
Temp.
HP? Oh,
I
So-
have 8 temporary HP, but I don't know if that counts. But I have 20 without that.
no, I don't know if that counts.
It does.
Oh, does it count? Okay.
I believe
so-
so.
So that's 28
Mhm.
to take you out. And even if it wasn't, it's not enough to put the remaining bits of the shambling mound asleep. But Ren, you fall into the swamp. And
We're all invisible.
and as the creature looks like it's like
Me,
ready
Me,
to
you,
attack,
the
right?
beast, the shambling mound, me, we're all asleep.
We're all invisible.
Warren, wait, are
You're
you
invisible.
invisible? Does it include
Am I?
you?
I
I don't think you're invisible.
it says any
Oh,
creature within 30 feet.
Yeah, each
Of
creature
you?
within 30 feet of me becomes invisible for the next minute. I don't know if
So I
that
don't think
covers
it's-
me.
It doesn't
It
sound like
says
it covers
of
you.
If it doesn't cover me, that's fine.
Yep.
It'll attack, the shambling mound will attack me and then lose its invisibility.
That's a possibility.
Womp womp.
So
Whoop whoop.
the beast
helping.
creature is invisible. It was the raptor is invisible. Renta is invisible. Everybody is asleep except for this now giant, massive, shambling mound.
And the beast.
And me. I'm not asleep.
And yeah, you're not asleep. So
Come at me and then slip on the grease.
I'm gonna play it that way, yeah.
Imagine if we had a map right now. Imagine the mess it would look like.
It's just a fucking mess. It's just a big X. It just rip it. Just throw it away.
We have fog cloud. We have grease. We have sleep. We have invisibility. Any other effects we want to start up?
Oh, I mean, if you want, I could throw some more in.
You'll have the invisibility thing on top of us and the sleeping thing on top of us. You're a velociraptor.
All right, so this shambling mound, invisible now. Although you can tell where it is. It like the water has to move and ripple around this hulking form, so it's invisible, but it's like not it's identifiable, and
So
it
it's
is-
just more terrifying.
Oh yeah, totally. It's just this unknown thing shifting water approaching you. And it's going to swing and attack.
But when it gets within 10 feet of me, it needs to make a dex save to see if it slips on the grease
Oh, shit.
and falls
Well-
prone.
So I rolled a 5. So yes. You don't even get the satisfaction of seeing this. Because all you hear is like whoop, 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 as it comically splashes into the swamp. Water flies everywhere. You are soaked in swamp waters.
I've never been so hilariously bad at combat before.
It's prone.
Yes, it's all part of the plan.
It's half movement to stand up again.
It'll stand up.
But then if it
It's
moves
fair.
again, it has to try and make another saving throw.
But that's all it doesn't have enough movement to start moving. So it
It
is
also-
currently waiting invisibly, kind of, in this pool of magical grease.
I should note that I'm no longer a velociraptor, because if I become incapacitated, which sleep does, I turn
Correct.
back into Audrey.
Correct.
So I'm a napping Audrey.
An invisible napping Audrey.
Napping Audrey, yes. Are we drowning?
you're at least you're submerged in at least 2 feet of water. You
So we're drowned.
When they aspirate the water, it would rouse them.
okay?
Great. I'm so glad that when I start drowning, I'll wake up. That's exactly the situation I want to wake up back into.
I didn't even. Whose fucking turn was this?
That was my turn.
So it's my turn
So
now.
It's Rentus's turn.
The creature just went.
I
Yeah,
did
it
have the
was
creature
Creature's
go.
turn.
Yeah, I skipped on accident.
So
I'm
bring
okay
Renta
with this.
back.
Audrey, go ahead.
I'm asleep.
Yeah. Roll just for
Great turn.
roll a Constitution check.
What about Renta's turn? She gets to roll Constitution
Yep,
too.
Renta, go ahead and roll Constitution as well. Cause y'all both submerged in some water.
Hey, good news. Good news. That's 5.
Yep, I rolled a natural 4 for an 8.
Oh,
Yeah. We're in Spicy Town.
yeah. I mean, it's only been like 7 seconds, so you're not drowning yet. That's good.
That's reassuring.
Um,
I'm sleeping under sludge.
Sleeping, my nose is like stuffed in mud right now. I've just been exhaling for the last 7 seconds. Waiting to exhale.
Chris,
Just-
it's your turn.
Well,
Okay.
my magic keeps doing dumb things, so I'm gonna keep doing it in hopes it does something useful. This is the character. I'm sorry.
I love it. Just keep
I have no
rolling.
problem with it. My concern is that you're gonna roll and get a level 3 fireball on yourself, and then all 3 of us will be unconscious, and we'll just have to figure out what happens next time.
Still save us.
You might not be in the in range of the fireball.
We might not be,
Right.
but Chris sure as heck is.
It's true.
I'm doing sleep again, just to try to trigger a wild magic surge.
The loud noise might wake us, if nothing else.
I mean, I don't know. We have a whole lot of sludge in our ears right now.
There's a lot of sludge in places it definitely shouldn't be.
Oh no.
We will need a thorough bath after this.
Anyone have prestidigitation? I can't say that with gum in my mouth.
Okay, so this will be fun. A unicorn controlled by the DM appears in a space within 5 feet of you, then disappears 1 minute later.
I want to know how you would handle this in real life, Gnome. You have a unicorn ready?
Thanks for tuning
What?
in to this week's episode of the Grove Where We Met.
This is why I try to avoid combat.
Where we've gone from whoop whoop words to a unicorn.
Is this Larry?
Right? Is this Larry?
But please describe this unicorn appearing for me.
Want to be friends?
I mean,
Or do you want me to describe the unicorn appearing?
I want you to describe it while I read the stats of a unicorn.
Okay, so after I cast this spell, I'm like trying to like shake the gem to like try to get it to do more magic, and then like on one downstroke, there's like a tear in space, and then just fire bursts from that tear, and this unicorn just leaps out, looking very like startled, like what just happened, and it just looks almost relieved to just not be in whatever situation it was just in.
Hey, look, we found your beast of burden right there.
I say, as my for the rest of my turn, I say, "Help! I'm being attacked by a giant invisible creature that's knocked out my friends, who possibly might be drowning. Please save us."
So this this majestic as fuck unicorn that you've pulled away from whatever hell it was currently facing, because it looks a little battered up.
Can I name him?
In a moment. its mane is just kind of, very ruffled, not as kept or as well kept as a unicorn typically is, still glittery and, like I said, majestic AF. And it kind of takes a moment to get used to its surroundings and looks to you, and then looks to this area where the water is just like moving. And you do say, though, very specifically, you said, "Help my friends, they're drowning." Correct?
I said, "Help us. We were attacked by the..." I did mention my friends who are drowning, yes.
Okay. So it is going to quickly move and run. Oh, but I don't know. Can it see invisibility?
I will mention that they are invisible.
That's
in the water.
Yeah.
So the water might be displaced around them.
Yeah. It's going to just charge into the area where this, like, the water is massively shifting and splashing around, not needing to see the creature, because there's definitely something big and massive there. That's good. And as it slams its beautiful unicorn horn into this invisibled area, oh man, that's really good too. Okay, it's gonna pull back and rear up and slam both of its hooves down. The mound is now going to take, okay, hang on, hooves are this. That's 11 bludgeoning from the hooves. The horn, nope, the charge does 2d8. That's 5. Not bad. So 6 plus 5 is Dungeons and Math. What was the first damage I said? 8?
Mm-hmm.
8?
Sure. I'm down with it.
45.
50.
I don't remember.
8 sounds about right.
Yeah, 8 sounds about right. I'm okay with 8.
Okay, 8's fine. I'll even just do 10.
10.
We'll make it a good old 10. So that's
Yes.
21 points of piercing and bludgeoning damage. This creature is going to take, and it is going to use its legendary action to slam down its hooves again. 9, 14 points of additional damage. This thing now is actually looking pretty rough. You just did like 35 points of damage with the fucking unicorn. Renta, it's your turn. Roll me Constitution saving throw.
Please wake up.
21.
Okay. You start choking, and you're gonna take 1 point of damage from literally suffocating. But
And that wakes you up.
Awake. You are awake.
That's a bad idea. Don't breathe in. Don't breathe in. I'm assuming I wake up at the end of my turn.
Yeah, definitely.
'Cause that's just what I do. That's my turn.
Yeah.
You like sit up out of the water and you just see a unicorn there, like
I don't know if
attacking something invisible, and Chris is just like,
I'm just like, I don't even know if I see you right now. I have mud everywhere. I'm just trying my best. I'm using my 6 seconds to just be like, oh god, it's
Right.
everywhere.
Just kind of like come to get ready.
oh, and there's like the last bits of that flaming tear in space. Just like,
I just see like broad shapes when I try, like when I look through my eyelashes. I'm just like, what is happening right now? I can't even talk. My nose is stuffed. Like,
So nobody can see. Wow, that was not good. Okay. So you just Kika, Chris, you can see the unicorn kind of get thrown away, pushed back about 5 feet or so before it kind of comes running back in, ready to fight as it takes 7 points of invisible damage.
it should be noted it's standard invisibility, so once it attacks, the invisibility is broken.
Oh, then you now see the shambling mound looking a lot more unraveled than when you had last seen it.
Good.
It's hurting pretty bad right now. And that's its turn. Audrey, how about Constitution saving throw, please?
That's another 5. Brought to you by Audrey.
Okay, Audrey, you are going to take 2 points of damage.
Yay! Do I wake up or am I still asleep?
But you took damage, so didn't that technically wake you when you take damage?
I believe so.
Yep.
So Audrey sits up and begins coughing out sludge water. Sees
Like a fish falls out.
Yeah. Sees the unit, like a small little anchovy just like flies out. Sees the unicorn. Sees the shambling mound. And sees Chris. And just slowly lays back down just for another moment. Not drowning, but just laying there.
That's valid. Chris, dare I say, it's your turn.
Well, I did a spell that ended up being helpful, so I'm just gonna throw rocks now with my sling.
Please do.
Do a good old sling attack.
Oh.
Which 14 to hit?
14 it will not hit. You kind of just it's flailing around a lot more erratically, and just the stone whizzes right by.
Oh no. And like, thank you for the help, unicorn. By the way, the unicorn's name is Guyler.
Renta, it's your turn.
But what about the unicorn?
It'll go after Renta.
Okay.
I rolled a initiative for it. This is what you see.
I can't even move closer to it because there's grease there.
Chaos.
And it's looking worse, like
Oh yeah, it's
hella
looking
fucked.
way more shambling. less mound.
What do I do? I
Any
am.
ranged? No ranged?
I mean, I have. How far away from it am I? Do you think?
Maybe 20 feet. It had to get to the grease, so yeah, about 20 feet.
Okay, so I am going to stand up. I am going to grab my sword. Actually, I can't grab my sword. I could. I'm choosing not to. I won't grab my sword. And I am just going to throw burning. Oh no, but it didn't work last time.
Yes, it looked very ineffective.
I am just going to. I'm going to get within 10 feet of it. And I'm going to add to the Agents of Chaos. And I am going to use my Necrotic Shroud. And I'm invisible. You can't see me. Son of a bitch. I can't use it.
Oh no!
That's right. You can't see me.
If you make an attack, you become visible.
But it's my whole action to use it. So
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't go away when I take damage. It's only when I attack, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I am.
Invisibility.
We're so good with rules tonight.
We've had to go through so many conditions tonight.
This is a weird.
Wait, is anyone in the fog cloud?
Nobody's in the fog cloud.
Okay, we've all avoided the fog cloud. I'm
Yes.
glad we've all decided to do that.
The spell ends for a target that attacks or casts a spell. I don't know if Necrotic Shroud would count as a spell. It's up to Joey, I guess.
They have to make a charisma saving throw when I do it.
But it's not taking like a spell slot, right?
Yeah,
So
it's not.
yeah, it's our game. Fuck it. You can cast it.
All right.
Go for
Well, so
Real cool.
I go from being invisible, I guess, and I cast a Necrotic Shroud, and as this invisibility, difficult word to say, wears off, you see me, just these black dead wings pop out from behind me, skeletal in nature. My entire body, I'm gone normally. My eyes are like, I think red or black, who knows? And I my entire being is so much more gaunt and scary when you look straight at me. And as this pops off, there's like a black mist that almost comes off my wings and off of my being, and I make a very loud, almost screeching sound, to catch the attention of everyone within 10 feet of me. And if anyone who is within 10 feet of me needs to make a charisma saving throw of DC 12 or be frightened until the end of my next turn.
All right.
I'm taking a momentary nap.
Yeah. So Russ, you're fine. Chris,
I
it
have
never
oodles
came
of
towards you.
Huh?
Yep, you're
I have-
fine.
Oodles of charisma too.
That is an 11 for the shambling mound, and
And they are frightened of me until the end of my next turn.
okay, and charisma. Oh yeah, with the plus 19 for the unicorn.
Good for you, unicorn. See,
A
this
little
unicorn
cautious
shit,
with you.
yeah,
all
coming out from invisibility, standing up, dripping with mud, and just all of a sudden, there I am. Hello, here I am.
Oh, that's amazing. That's fucking
is my turn.
beautiful. Fantastic. The unicorn is gonna go ahead and do its, that's not its attack, this is its attack. Come on, let's just still get any entangle. Okay. Just use its multi-attack. That's damage, not my attack die. That's a 14 plus a 7. Oh yeah, that hits. So 2 hooves go down. And the horn goes down. So that is another 3, 6, 10 points of bludgeoning. And 7 points of piercing. So that's another 17 points of damage. It is wobbling. This thing is barely able to hold itself together. You could just see bits and pieces of it kind of like falling into the water as like it goes to like swing, but like part of its arm just like unravels. But it's its turn. And it's going to, because it can't attack Renta, right? Can't attack you because it's frightened of you. It's going to attack the unicorn, and not just attack, it is going to slam its entire body down, which the unicorn needs to make a DC saving throw.
Is it within my line of sight?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can see you.
Then it has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls.
It's not an attack. The
Okay.
the attacked creature has to make the DC save. It's a grapple, so it has to make a strength, which is fine. That's a 16 plus a 4. So the unicorn swiftly shifts out of the way as this just pile slams into the water, emerging once more, but almost less than it had before going down. Audrey, it is your turn. And this thing is
So Audrey,
not looking good.
after taking his momentary rest from this whole unicorn debacle, gets up, still invisible, and plods over. You can definitely still see him though, because he's just covered in mud, so it's just mud creature walking up. That's 7-8. And he gets to a point so that he's not going to hit anyone else. And he stands there and he says, "You know what? My mama told me never to use this kind of language, but you know what? Why don't you just go away, you big meanie?" And when he says meanie, he's casting Thunder Wave at 2nd level. So it's going to need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Ooh, all right. Constitution saving throw. Do. How do you want to do this?
Oh, let me roll for damage first.
Oh no, you're good. At
I want
minimum, you
for
have
damage
to.
for me.
Okay. It had 2 HP left.
Wow. Okay, that was a lot of damage. That was nearly max. That's gonna be 20 damage. So I think what happens is that as he says the word meanie, this like explosion of sound exits his mouth. The mud on him is exploded off of him as he is now visible, and these sound waves just shatter through this creature's chest, and it just begins to collapse inwards as its own body can't support itself, as it just like shatters this huge hole in its chest. And there's this thunderous boom of the word meanie for 300 feet around our group.
Meanie.
And like any creature that is just literally blown apart, there's still just like residual pieces of it kind of like falling and splashing down into the water. You are seemingly now out of danger. There are no more vines that are twisting, no more movement or sounds from this creature. And the unicorn now standing before you all kind of like does a little like doggy shake, right? And just kind of like magically cleans itself. So it just is glistening beautifully with all of the hollow sparkles it could ever want. Highly doubtful that you've all seen a unicorn before, though, so this is quite a beautiful sight to behold, none the less. Oh my gosh, thank you, Queen, for the bits. You are the best. I know, Audrey, right? Wow. The power of words, right? And the unicorn is gonna look over to each of you, and it is going to say in what
Have us all.
They speak Celestial, Elvish, Sylvan, and also have telepathy.
They do have telepathy. So, oh yeah. Oh, I get to use it. We're gonna do this. So. It hopefully I'm set on the right one. Yeah, I'm set on the right one. Cool. It kind of it looks to each of you proudly, and will say, I have to think what it's gonna say. It's fucking unicorn.
That was a gosh dang good fight.
Oh, look, we've already known Larry. Anything is just an impelling.
I know, like that's where I'm caught up on. I'm like, fuck, Little Red Dot is amazing. Larry for.
My mom always told me I was the greatest.
Give him Brolbear's voice.
I could throw that. I could do that. I don't know how that's gonna sound with this, but we'll do that. We'll go with that. So this unicorn, you hear this booming sound in your head, and
Do any of you, are you injured? Can I help you in some way?
I am injured. I hurt. My body hurts.
Nah, okay. I will help you. And
it looks to you and does a little like movement with its head, and this glistening magic shoots at you like a sparkler would, and you are healed 11 HP, and any disease and poisons are also gone if you had me, but you didn't. So 11 points of HP. Does anybody else?
And
I don't think anybody else took
as
any
he does that,
poisons.
I also use a bonus action to take off my shroud.
Oh yeah. So that's something that nobody has seen yet.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Including myself. That's the first time I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
I will address this after talking to the unicorn because the unicorn is our guest and I don't want to be rude.
We're putting a bookmark right there.
Yes.
if you excuse me for a moment, I need to go. You have an animal friend here who needs help as well. So, one moment, and like they reach
over. They reach over to, or they walk over to where the body of this creature who had been swallowed by the shambling mound, and it again waves its magical head and gives it some HP, and it'll look back over to you all, the unicorn, and in your head once more.
do not understand how I got here, why I was summoned, but I bid you farewell. Be safe. Many blessings. Do good deeds. Enjoy storming the castle. And away it goes.
It just the tear between the fabric of time once more opens up, and the unicorn just jumps in it like it's done this before. And
Guys, I summoned a unicorn.
For that entire scene, Audrey has had both of his hand over his mouth, just like. And then as the unicorn's jumping away, he goes, "I'm really sorry for saying those mean words in front of you."
precious, so precious.
Guys, I did that. I summoned that unicorn. See, I helped eventually.
I exploded it with my words. I think my mama was right. I shouldn't say those mean words anymore.
You should say them at mean people.
I'm just moving over to the mount.
Because I can't explode things. We've established that I cannot explode things.
Yeah.
It's extremely established that my magic is very not useful in combat unless you want to eventually have a unicorn.
So
I mean, that's...
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say that's useful.
And then I take a step and I slip on my own grease and fall.
As you hear the splash of Chris into the waters, you hear more water shifting around, and you turn to look to where the unicorn had last been, where it had healed up the creature, again, that was engulfed inside this shambling mound. And as it slowly steps up from the depths of the swamp, it kind of rustles itself out a bit, just, chunks of, algae and moss and vines just kind of like fly off of it. And standing before you is a half horse, half eagle creature, dirtied, battered, feathers missing in several areas, but a set of bright yellow eyes look to each of you and then pause as it looks at Rental.
It's a heagle.
And we're going to stop there for tonight.
Yes.
No.
Yes, that's it. It's almost 10 o'clock. We have to stop.
I know. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm
Wow.
sorry for making the combat take way longer.
It's fine.
Please don't ever apologize for that.
So funny. Oh my goodness.
That's amazing.
That is by far the best, just singular combat against one thing.
Which the one thing only did like 12 points of total damage. All together with the unicorn, you all did a 98 without counting the 20 that rusted at that last crazy blow.
That was, wow. We went a lot of places that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We saw a lot of new faces, and it is a pleasure meeting you all. I hope you enjoyed our crazy story. This was literally wild. We're gonna take a moment before leaving. Please, everybody, let them know who you are, where they can find you, and I definitely want to know what your favorite moment of tonight was. Kika.
Oh my god.
The master of
god.
magicry.
I really liked the whoop whoop bird, honestly. Very fond of that. Oh my god. Basically, we kind of... A lot of this episode was dealing with my character's shenanigans, which I'm sorry. But that was fun. It was very fun to get back into this.
Y'all would have had to come up with another almost 30 plus points of damage that the unicorn did.
Yeah, well, if I had any damaging spells, that would have been easy to do, but
I mean, but you did. You summoned a unicorn. Just as good. So who are you? Where can folks find you? What projects are you working on?
oh yeah, I'm Kika. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/KikaVO. You can also follow my baking Patreon at patreon.com/baking. It still needs to be updated this month because I had like a bit of a mental health break, but getting back into that. And you can find me on places on the internet, such as on the Domino Theory podcast, which is relaunching soon.
Well, thank you
Yeah,
for your
that's it.
craziness and
That's
brilliance.
it for this week.
Oh, always a pleasure. Russ?
Hi. So my favorite moment was definitely just wild magic. I don't think it can be any more specific than that. Just wild magic in general. Like, took a pretty straightforward combat and made it ridiculous. And that was great. And I love it. And despite how annoyed Audrey was, I had so much fun. So you can find me on Twitter at RussWildest. I'm also the Dungeon Master of Prison Pals, a 5e all LGBTQ plus family-friendly D&D podcast. A lot of buzzwords. Next Tuesday, we are releasing our best episode we've ever recorded, which is a in-canon episode that is a combination of Chopped and Cutthroat Kitchen. So just keep an ear out for that. Yeah, so that's me.
Pleasure having you. Thanks for the random raptor, by the way.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That added to tonight's chaos.
I figured that he might have some new forms he wasn't aware of.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Feywild, and magic is really fucking weird.
Yeah.
In the Feywild. And last but not least, PB.
Hi.
Who set this whole thing up?
I'm PP from my PP Plays Inside. I only asked whether I wanted to be a Cavalier or Samurai at level 3, and I got convinced to do Cavalier. So here we are, one entire little adventure later. Let's see if it works out next session. My favorite, I'm PP from PP Plays Inside, by the way, and my favorite thing was the fog cloud right at the beginning, because it set the tone of what that fight was going to be immediately. It was like, I saw this fight going one way, and then that fog cloud happened, and then everything just dominoed effect after that. From the shambling mountain coming up, from the grease, to the sleep, to the fire, to the invisibility, to the unit. It was a fight. I would love to see that. I want to see that combat tracker on the side of my screen. Tell every single thing that just happened.
Yeah.
Because that was like 2 things happening on Kika's turn every single turn.
I just want to see an animatic of it. Like, let me just have a quick animatic of this entire fight.
Just give me a flip book. I just need the flip book of it. That's all I need. That was it. Like, it set it up. I don't know why I felt it in my heart that chaos was about to reign, but the moment that fog cloud came down, I felt it. I knew something was about to go down, and I didn't know what. And there's no way in a million years I could have imagined this set of events was going to happen. But aside from that, I'm PP from at PP Plays Inside. You can find me on Twitter and on Twitch. I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays. This week I'm also doing Wednesday because I'm playing through Dragon Age Origins. I'm finally in the second half. We just started the Brazilian Forest, which is entering new content that I've never seen before. So I'm very excited, and I want to play through it. So stream starting at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, going until I feel like I should stop. I do voices for everyone, including my favorite guy in the entire world, Brother Genetivi, who has this accent because I ran out of accents before, and I love him so much. And I read all the lore because I'm a huge lore person. So I read every single codex entry that almost all of them, that I get, especially from Brother Genetivi. And who apparently has a voice in the game, by the way. I didn't realize he was an actual character until well in like several many hours into that game. So there's no turning back now. That's Brother Jim TV's voice forever. And I have no other games this week because they're all postponed because of Gen Con.
That's right. It's Gen Con. Well, thank you, literally all of you, for literally everything tonight. My name is Gnome, and you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Nomedic. I'm here on Monday nights. Good God! Thanks for the follow. It's an axe sound in my ear. It's so loud. I'm here on Mondays on the Greyhawk channel running this insane game, which, by the way, there's a lot of new folks here. In case you didn't know, this game is actually based on Florence and the Machine songs. And let me tell you,
Clearly.
Today's episode had nothing to do with the song, but it was so great. I thank you for the laugh. My like jaw is like tugging, like the muscles are ready to pull. I just can't stop laughing and smiling. So thank you so much for that. This was such a fun game. Like I said, I'm here Monday nights on the Greyhawk channel. You can catch me on the Rise of the Demigods podcast over on the God's Fall channel on Twitch or on demigodsfall.com. Thursdays, I am over on Unmade Gaming's channel playing Men of Letters, which is an eldritch horror 1920s diesel punk horror type game. Super fun over there. And then Sunday nights, you can catch me on the Kobold Press channel playing The Last Heir, where we go through inspirations from the Tales of the Old Margrave campaign, which is super fantastic. And oh my gosh, thank you so much, Variant Rolls, with that raiding party. Welcome to the Grove where we met on the Greyhawk channel. Unfortunately, we're about to end. We had an insane session. Just a quick recap. That's how I'm done. It's just, you know, we talked to some birds who like to whoop. Met a shambling mound with 3 level 3s.
But Nate didn't count on the fact that we had a wild sorceress.
Yep. Wild sorceress
Doesn't have any offensive spells.
Not one at all. But
Not even like a defensive combat oriented spell. Just all like.
Oh my god! What was it? Was a fog cloud, a grease pool, invisibility, and then
unicorn.
A fucking unicorn.
But what she cast was Frostbite. Then it was Sleep.
Sleep.
Color spray.
And color spray. Yeah.
And Sleep again.
So what you can tell is that Chris's favorite spell is Sleep.
Sleep?
Yeah.
You cast it 4 times this session.
Yeah, you did. With
And
putting other players to sleep.
And the first time was on a bird.
And a bunch of fish in the surrounding area.
No, that was the second time. The first time was on those ropers.
Yeah, right. The grackle.
The
branch people.
Swamp chokers. Yeah.
Yeah, swamp chokers.
That's what we're calling him now. I love him. Anyways,
Oh my gosh,
thank
I
you all
forgot
so
about that.
much for tuning in.
Yeah, so I guess I
tonight.
cast it 5 times.
We will be back here next week, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, exploring the Feywild in Greyhawk. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. Chaos.